Mayuri sent in a question ages ago, actually. It's, is there any correlation with fascia release techniques, for example, acupuncture or lymphatic drainage, that have been positively related to helping patients manage pain related to the vagus nerve?
I don't know specifically, but I'll just get back to the basics of, how can I put it? I'm going to call it the placebo response. Mm-hmm. The placebo response is really all about feeling safe. And it doesn't matter really, I think, too much about what you do, as long as you do something, and as long as you make patients feel a little bit safer. I think that there is recalibration. And as you probably are aware, much of the chronic pain syndromes are basically central, they're localized centrally rather than peripherally. So you probably see a lot of patients with joints and muscular pains where all the tests, the inflammatory tests and the CTs and the MRIs really don't explain why the patient is so resistant to conventional non-steroidals, etc.
Yes.
But who respond to your therapies. And so I'm only being speculative now, but I do believe that the search for safety occurs at a formal level, saying, I think you're safe. And also occurs to say, I think it might be that if we do this particular procedure, like, we do some lymphatic work, or we do some tendon release or something, I think that's got to do with being cared for, feeling safe, etc.
Which isn't to say that those therapies don't have other effects as well, but that placebo effect, that feeling of safety, is a very important part of all of them, isn't it?
Placebo effect isn't a negative term.
No.
At all. I think it's a fantastically powerful non-drug therapy in a way that we should really applaud. We shouldn't think of the placebo response as being...
But it's a nasty conundrum, isn't there? Ben Goldacre talks about this in some of his books about bad science, because he's particularly hostile to homeopathy. But he doesn't deny that it might have an effect. He insists that it's probably due to placebo. But sadly, conventional medicine isn't allowed to prescribe you a placebo. It has to be a drug that does something.
Well, it's interesting because in gastroenterology, if you give patients with heartburn, for example, if you give them omeprazole, which every Tom, Dick and Harry is taking at the moment, give them omeprazole or you give them a placebo, about 80% will respond to omeprazole, about 55% will respond to the placebo.
Yeah.
Now, it's not to say that the other 30% where is probably doing what it says on the box, which is anti-secretory. But it's saying that there are other factors involved as well, which are very positive, and placebo responses are not something to be scoffed at in my book at all. As a clinician, feel that, reflexology, immersing yourself in cold water, all these things that have an effect need to be part of the armamentarium that we use in a positive sense, rather than fencing ourselves into our particular way of thinking.
I think I saw some research somewhere, probably in another of Ben Goldacre's articles, where he said that actually, even if you tell the patient that this is a placebo, it's probably still going to have a beneficial effect. It may be reduced in the overall population, but it still works.
No,
which is bizarre.
No, because in some of the trials they've said we want to carry on. It's a 6-month trial, and then we'll tell you what you're on, and then we want to see what happens a year later. And the guys who get better on placebo say, I know it's a placebo, I want to carry on with that.